Hey, good morning, it's Mike. This morning I want to tell you that your personal economy, how well you're doing financially, has very little to do with the world's economy, has very little to do with the nation's economy, has very little to do with your state's economy. Your personal economy has very little to do with anybody else. Your personal economy has everything to do with who you are, what kind of value you bring to the world, how you bring that value, the person that you are in the marketplace. Your personal value is up to you. Recently, 2008, we had one of the worst economic crashes, people are saying, since the Great Recession. Now, 2008 was a terrible year for a lot of people, but some people had a great year in 2008. I know of several people in my circle who 2008 was the best year they'd had in a decade. Speaking of the Great Depression, it reminds me of a few stories that I can, remember. 2008, it wasn't that bad of a recession compared to the Great Recession. First of all, let's get that straight. But second of all, people who hustle in any generation are always going to have a leg up on people who lay back and, just expect the man to take care of them. One story that I remember somebody telling was a young man would go into a tailor's shop every day asking for a job. And it was common during the Great Recession for business owners to post signs on the door. Instead of saying now hiring, the signs would say not hiring. Don't bother us, we're not hiring. But the kid would go in every day to the tailor's shop and ask for a job. And every day the tailor would say, hey, we don't have any work. Well, this persisted for several weeks, and one day the kid came in and pleading for a job. Hey, mister, I'm good with people. I would like a job. I just want an opportunity. And the tailor said, we don't have any work, son, I've told you. But on the way out, the kid, as he was walking towards the front door, he noticed a single needle laying on the floor. He reached down, picked up the needle, handed it to one of the other clerks, and walked out the door. The owner saw it, and he said, if this kid could be concerned about one needle laying on the floor, maybe one of my customers could step on it, or maybe that needle would save me the hassle of trying to find another needle. Either way, he's frugal. I don't know what went through the owner's mind, but the next day when the kid walked into the tailor shop asking for a job, he gave it to him. Secondly, this is my second story. This is a true story told to me by my grandmother. She would go to the sewing factory every day and stand in line early in the morning till late in the day. And the owner of the sewing factory would come out and he would examine the girls standing in line looking for great value. He was looking for great value, somebody to hire. And this went on all during the Depression. People would stand outside places that were known to hire and wait for the opportunity to get a job. My grandmother stood in that line every day. One day, the businessman came outside looking for a girl to work in his sewing shop, and my grandma called out to him and said, hey, mister. He turned around and she said, if you'll hire me, I'll work for you for 2 weeks for free. At the end of 2 weeks, if you don't like what I'm doing, you can fire me and you don't pay me a dime. The man said, come on inside. My grandma worked in that sewing factory all through the Depression. She had a paycheck when other people didn't have a paycheck. The last story, and I know this is getting long, but I want to tell you one more great story. Last story is from Zig Ziglar. He also worked in the Great Depression. He was a stock boy, what they called a runner for a grocery store. In those days of the Depression, they didn't stock grocery stores full of groceries all week, but they tried to get everything they needed for the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, after people got paid, they would come in and do their grocery shopping. And if the grocery store ran out of a certain product, well, the runner, which is what Zig was, he would run to the other grocery store in town and borrow the items they needed from them, bring them back, and then the owner of the store would pay the other guy back. Well, the other store also had a runner, and this guy hustled. Zig said he hustled everywhere he went. And he would run in and he'd go to the manager and say, hey, I need 3 cans of tomatoes and a tub of butter. The manager would say, you know where it's at? And he'd run down the aisle, grab the 3 cans of tomatoes and the tub of butter, go to the checkout line, sign for it, and run off. And Zig said to his manager, he said, boy, that guy sure does hustle. And the owner said, yeah, and he's going to get a raise too. And Zig said, well, how do you know he's going to get a raise? And he said, because if his owner doesn't give him a raise, I'm going to. That's why your personal economy has nothing to do with the world's economy. You decide what you're worth by the value you bring to this world. This is Mike. I know it's been a long one, but make it a great day.